Okay, let's dive right into this explainer, because today we're embarking on a true investigative journey, and it's taking us straight into your living room. We walk on it literally every single day, we spend thousands of dollars on it, yet the complex engineering, the super intense rules, and the heavy debates happening right beneath our feet, they remain completely hidden from most of us. So today we are stripping back those glossy marketing brochures to uncover the raw, technical realities of home floor.
But first, I want to pose a really simple question to you. What do you think is the absolute biggest lie in home flooring? Just think about what you naturally expect when you hire a professional crew to come in and lay down brand new carpet in your house. You expect absolute perfection, right? A totally flawless, continuous surface.
Well, the answer to that question is precisely that expectation, the perfectly seamless room. It's a total myth. It is a consumer illusion. According to the experts at Dalton Mill Direct Carpets, achieving a completely seamless wall-to-wall carpet installation in most modern homes is basically a geometric impossibility. We all demand it, sure, but the actual physics of manufacturing and home architecture, they simply don't allow it.
To understand why, we really just need to look at one number, 12. You see, most residential carpet rolls are manufactured exactly 12 feet wide, though some specialty ones do come in at 15 feet. What that means in reality is that if you have a primary bedroom, a living room, or a basement that happens to be wider than 12 feet, which is super common by the way, the installer has absolutely no choice but to cut pieces and join them together. Mathematically speaking, a seam is completely unavoidable.
Now, you might be thinking, what if my room is just a neat 10 by 10 square? Well, you're probably still going to face seams. Why? Because of everyday architectural features. Closets, hallways, and doorways instantly complicate the layout. Plus, if you pick a carpet with any kind of directional pattern, the installers have to meticulously cut and turn pieces just to make sure the pattern aligns perfectly across the entire space. Toss in the modern trend of wide-open concept spaces or angled and curved walls, and the installer is essentially forced to piece together a massive, incredibly heavy fabric puzzle.
So, knowing all that, let's jump into the intensely technical reality of professional carpet installation, often referred to as the Pro Carpet Rulebook. Because hiding those unavoidable seams and making sure the carpet doesn't bubble up or peel requires following the Natural Fiber Installers Certification, or NFIC guidelines, to the letter. This isn't just about rolling out some fabric, it's practically structural engineering.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how vastly different high-end woven wool carpets are from one another. Their construction actually dictates exactly how a pro has to handle them. Take Axminster carpet, for instance. It's woven on a jacquard loom with a heavy ribbed back, making it so stiff that it can only be rolled lengthwise. It literally has zero stretch in its width. Wilden carpet, on the flip side, uses this fascinating punch card system to bury yarns in the backing for really intricate patterns, and that one can be rolled both ways. Then you have velvet, which is woven on the absolute simplest loom where all the yarn just sits right on the face. An installer has to know exactly which loom made your carpet before they even pick up a single tool.
And when these true pros are judging the quality of these carpets, they aren't just rubbing their hands over the top to see if it feels nice and soft. No, they're looking at something called the pitch. In dense and efficient industry jargon, pitch is the number of warp lines of yarn packed into a 27-inch width of woven carpet. It dictates the pile density. A higher pitch means a structurally denser, much higher quality floor. It just goes to show that true quality is measured by structural density, not just surface fluff.
When you get to tufted wool, the NFIC rules get incredibly strict. Installers absolutely cannot just kick the carpet into place with their knees. Using a power stretcher is mandatory. They have to achieve exactly a 1% stretch in the width and a 1.5% stretch in the length. And how do they actually measure that? By the literal physical pressure they feel pushing back on the handle of the stretcher. Oh, and skipping the chemical latex seam sealer? No way. Completely non-negotiable. They have to chemically encapsulate the backing to stop the whole floor from delaminating over time. Just to put this in perspective, look at the extreme lengths pros have to go to if a seam starts peaking, forming a tiny little ridge. We consumers just expect a flat floor, right? But the reality behind fixing it is this intense 3-step surgical repair. You have to empty the entire room, pull the carpet all the way back, physically sand down the old seam tape, cut out a foot of the underpad, glue the pad to the floor, glue the carpet to the pad, and then leave heavy weights sitting on the area for 2 to 3 hours. It's a remarkably laborious reality hiding behind a very simple aesthetic.
Okay, so that's the high-end world of natural fiber carpets. But what happens when we switch gears to hard surfaces? Let's dive into LVP, marketing versus reality. LVP stands for luxury vinyl plank, and it's basically the current king of the consumer market. But if you spend even 5 minutes on home improvement Reddit threads, you'll instantly see that LVP is a massive battleground between what marketers promise and what reality actually delivers.
So the crucial point here really comes down to what you think you're protecting. When you stroll into a big box store, the marketing completely focuses on the wear layer. They proudly boast about a 22 mil thickness as if it's some sort of bulletproof force field. But if you talk to actual installers or experienced DIYers, the wear layer is honestly a distraction. What they actually care about is the hidden joint, the specific locking system that snaps the planks together like the Uniclick or Valanche systems.
To really capture the true sentiment out there in the real world, check out this direct quote from a highly upvoted Reddit comment talking about LifeProof LVP. Quote, "F the wear layer, the locking system will fail first." End quote. I mean, that perfectly captures the sheer frustration of homeowners who bought a super thick plank only to have the tiny, fragile plastic clips snap and separate right under their feet just a few months later.
And of course, there's the everyday, practical reality of actually living on these manufactured plastic surfaces. Another Reddit user cheerfully noted their floor was holding up great, but they dropped this hilarious observation. The manic dogs can't get a grip and slide around like drift cars. Pretty funny for sure, but it's also a very real reminder that choosing a floor isn't just about stats on a cardboard box. It's about how your family, pets included, interacts with that surface friction every single day. So, if you distill the massive consensus across all these forums, the real LVP quality checklist completely ignores that heavily advertised wear layer. Instead, the real pros demand 3 things: a strong name-brand click system, an overall plank thickness of more than 5 millimeters, and a core composed of more than 65% stone. That is what actually makes a drop-and-lock floor durable. But here is the real kicker. Whether you're buying standard box store LVP or commissioning a 5-frame jacquard-woven Wilton wool carpet, there is an ultimate truth that unites all of it. The grand climax of flooring science is something we can call the underground equalizer, the subfloor. Just listen to this incredibly revealing user story from Reddit about snap-together vinyl. Quote, "The hammer-down short ends will pop up/unlock if your subfloor is not perfectly flat. You don't really notice it until you take a Dyson laser head to find dust." Wow, that is just staggering. A dip in the floor so incredibly small that you can only see it when a vacuum cleaner laser casts a shadow across it is enough to cause modern, rigid locking mechanisms to fail entirely. And this brilliantly illustrates why subfloor preparation is the most critical, yet somehow the most ignored step in home improvement. Just look at the mandatory prep required by both the NFIC guidelines for wool and the installers of vinyl. You absolutely have to grind down the hills and fill in the dips. You must perform strict calcium chloride moisture testing because concrete naturally emits vapor. You've got to test the surface alkalinity to ensure a pH right between 7 and 9, and you must never, ever use oil-based sweeping compounds to clean up the dust because they will chemically block your adhesives from bonding. Basically, if the subfloor fails, everything built on top of it fails. Which brings us to our final thought for today. The very next time you walk into a beautifully finished room, or the next time you're shopping around for a home renovation, don't just get hypnotized by the color or the pattern or the fancy wear layer marketing. Ask yourself the single most important question in home engineering. Before you even look at the surface, what exactly is hiding underneath your feet? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I genuinely hope you never look at your floors the exact same way again.